when we come to look at the monthly figures, we might decide that actually the difficulty here is don't we have the monthly figures? And we do. But what we're going to be doing is looking at setting budgets and then seeing how we've matched to those budgets. So one of the things we needed to finish off for this was the balances for the month. So balance, and that's going to be nothing more than equal to the total credits minus the total debits. So we can see how we've been doing overall, and you can see probably how unrealistic those numbers are, but that's perfectly fine. And again, we haven't done any formatting. But what we're going to do down here is we're going to alter the way that, we're going to change the layout slightly here. We're going to use the same data, very similar data. We're still going to do that. So we're still going to have 2021 and the month. So what I'm going to do again is we're going to set up a list here by going to data and then data validation. But we need the list of months there. So what I'm going to do is go back over to here and build a list of months. You can see, by the way, when I inserted the row there, that's inserted one there. So what that's probably done is given us a bit of a gap there. It doesn't go to where we want. So if we delete that one there, shift the cells up, then that gives us that. And this should now, still goes only to 2029, but that's easy enough. Just to tidy that one up. Sorry, I've just noted that and thought, oh, better tidy that up. But quite simply, all you got to do is redefine the list. That's all. Click on OK, and that's done. What we're going to do here is just put the months. So just put January and then February. I didn't need to do that, but let's now take that down to December, and that's done. So what we're going to have here is a drop-down list here. Might move it later, but we're not worried about that. So we're going to add a data validation list, and it's going to be a list, and where the list is going to be that, and we're simply going to click OK. We're going to select January straight away, so we've got that, and then here we're going to put the years. So again, another data validation list, and there's the list. Choose those and then click OK. And again, we're going to set that to 2021. So we can later on go through the years. We're assuming everything started in 2021 and we've got all this in place. So we can change the month or the year and it will change the record for that period. So that's great. So what are we going to be looking at? Well, we want to look at the same things we've got here. So let's put those in. And then what we want to do, we want to have a total there. And then we want to take these and then put a total in. And just to tidy those up, let's make sure that those are right aligned. So got those nicely in there. And all we're going to do now is bring in the amount we had. So here we're going to have the total amount that we got, and here we're going to have the budget. And then we're going to have a forecast against that. Not the forecast, but how have we done? So outcome. I'm going to stick with the uppercase, otherwise that doesn't help. And we're going to do basically the same calculation. We're going to obviously equals sum if S. What are we going to be looking for? Well, the sum range is, in this case, the credits. Then we've got the criteria range that we're looking for first of all. So we're going to be looking at the month first. And where is that criteria? Well, that's there. And then we're looking for the next criteria range, which is the year. And where is the one we're comparing it to? There. And then we're looking for criteria 3 range, which is in here. And we're looking against that there. I'm just going to press enter, and that should give us what we're looking for. And that should be the same figure as we've got there. Now, all we're going to do there is just go through, and this is where we made the mistake last time. So that needs to be locked on. So F4, that's the column. That's where it is. We always want that. Breakdown C2 or breakdown C2, C22, sorry, is this one here. So we want to lock on to that one, and the column B2, and then that's 2021, and still looking at D. And this part here is the part we want to focus on, because that's the bit that can change. So we want to stay in column C, but we want to be able to go down to 25. So we lock just the C. If we press enter, that should mean that we can just bring that down to there. And again, that should match the value there, which it does. We're going to do exactly the same thing here. Equals sum if S, open brackets, sum range, this time the debits, comma, then it says criteria range 1, that's going to be the month. Where is that criteria? It's there. Second criteria is the year. Where is that criteria? There. The next one is, what are we looking up? We're looking, sorry, where's the next criteria range, which is in this one. Now you can't see it because it's behind where I'm looking. So what we're going to do is move this spreadsheet so I can see it, which is just there. And that's what we're looking for. So it's that column, comma, and what's the one we're looking for? That one there. Close brackets, press enter. Again, that should match what we've got there, which it does. That's good. That's what we're looking for. So now we just want to go through and again, locking almost everything absolutely in place. And it's this one. We just want to lock in the C, but not worry about the rest. Not that we're going to put it sideways, but just in case, we just want to make sure we've locked everything in place. If we do that, we should notice water's the one we're interested in, and that's there. So we can now do a total equals sum, and do a total here equals sum, and we've got those there, and that works nicely. So now let's take that, turn it into currency, and turn that into currency as well. Next, what do we want to do? Well, we want to have a forecast. So what was our forecast for our income? Well, let's say that we were expecting 1,600. That was our budget for our income. And this one, let's say, was 1,500. And then we can take the sum across and see about there. Now, eating out. Maybe we said to ourselves that we only want to spend £80 a month on eating out. And entertainment, really, we want to keep that at £50. And groceries, well, let's say that was meant to be £3.50. Again, we're making these numbers up. It really doesn't matter. £60 for there. For local taxes, £240. For our mortgage rent, we were looking at £1,050. The sundries, additional things we thought we wanted to keep that low. Utilities, we were expecting that to maybe be 180. Let's say 200. Water was going to be 100, and therefore again we can take the sum, move the sum across, and we've got that there. So we've now got two sets of figures: what we want, what we got, and what we wanted. What we want to do now is turn those into currencies, and obviously, if we're doing a forecast, if we're doing a budget expenditure, we're not going to put pennies in, so that's fine. This is what we expected to spend, and this is what we did spend. And so we want to see how close to those we were. And we're going to use this column to do exactly that. So let's see how we're going to do that. If we take this outcome here, now all we're going to do here is make that equal to this one here. And to save ourselves a bit of time, I'm going to do the same thing there. And oops, and sorry, let me pull that down. So those should work that way. That's only because I typed an error in there. So I've got all those, and those are done. I'm also going to do the same thing here and pull that down. Okay, so all we're going to do now is we're going to click here, and we're going to strangely do this equals and just choose the content of that cell there. And to save myself time, I'm just going to run that all the way down to the bottom and then delete the odd one there. So basically, we've replicated this value here. And that might seem a bit odd, but that's because we want to use this value. And as it changes, that should help us see our graph a bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use conditional formatting. And under the conditional formatting, I'm going to go to data bars, and I'm simply going to choose the green data bar there. And we can see an example of it in the cell. So I'm going to click on there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to manage rules. I'm going to double click on this rule here. And then what I'm going to do is, first thing is I don't want to see the number. So I'm going to say show bar only. That means that number is going to disappear. We're only going to see the green bar. The next thing I'm going to do is set this as a number and keep it at 0. And the next thing I'm going to do is set this as number and choose this, choose the budgetary amount, press enter, and then click OK. I'm going to apply that, click OK, and let's just see what happens. What if I reduce that to 1,000? And we can see the bar is going to change. If we set that to 10, it's a tiny bar. So if we change that, that bar is going to change in relationship. And we can do that again for the next one. So data bars, choose the green, then all we've got to do is manage rules, double click, show bar, number, number, and then direct it to our budgetary value. Click OK, apply, OK. And again, if we set that to 10, we can see it drop. If we set it to 1400, we can see it almost fill up. And if we go above budget, we can see that there. And last but in no way least, we can do the same thing here to see how we are overall with our income. So let's go through and just do it one more time. And just to prove that, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then just undo, Control Z to undo, just to see how that comes back. And obviously what we might want to do is go through, start changing these numbers because they're not helping our total. So if I reduce that, for example, to 1,400 and then went down to here and set that to maybe 1,000, not 10,000, and then we start to maybe see, maybe that's 1,200, and maybe this was 800 in that total. And we can start to play around with these numbers to see how realistic they become. And we can see how already that's beginning to show in the budget there. We're going to do the same thing here, but the only difference is on the data bars, we're going to choose the red data bars. So again, for each one, and it's best to do it for each one, you can do a selective, but it doesn't always apply it correctly. Particularly if I double click there, go to show bar, though the minimum works, the maximum, when we set it to that cell, it does use absolute referencing. Now it's difficult to remove, you can't remove the absolute referencing, it complains, but if you do keep it that way, there's a good chance all these other cells are going to pay attention to that one. So what we'll do is keep that in there, click on OK, and that one there is working. So we ate a lot in that month. I'm seeing if we've had a month way below that. Our budget was £80. We're dangerously above our budget in every single month. Oh no, we're not too bad in June. So let's see how June comes through. If we go to June, we can see that falls quite neatly. Back to January, and we've got that there. So what we'll do now is just speed through these, and then we'll go and have a look at the next thing to do. Okay, and there we have it. So we've got all those now in place, and it works, should work really nicely. So again, if we change that to May, when we get some nice figures, and it would be ideal to change some of the test data, but that's the thing with using randomized numbers. Now, obviously, we've got this over here, and we want to hide those. And I think if we move this over, then move this down, I think one more over, then what we can do is, again, do what we're used to doing, sorting these things out, bring this up one. So we've got that there. Now I'm looking at this, I'm going to use a piece of paper I've got in front of me. So we're looking at C2, and we want to go down. And we're going to go down to Q38. And so we're going to select that sheet, fill it all black. Now we can't see anything, and that's ideal. C2 to Q38, and now we can select some color to work with. Okay, then what we can do is choose these, and I think if we use the more borders, we can then tell it that actually we want to use a darker gray inner and outer, and then we've got those there. Let's bold those, and since those are totals, we'll bold those. What we'll also do is go back to the more borders, and first of all, be aware, if I change this to there, sometimes you'll find that they all change. So what we'll do, sometimes you might want to remove one, but all you've got to do is really carefully. Sometimes you click in the wrong place, Excel will respond in the wrong way, but that's okay. Just rebuild everything. If you get into a real state, just click cancel and start again. But that's okay. Got a double line at the top. And then we'll do the same thing here. So all borders, choose that one, tell that one we want that to be double lined, and we'll choose that and make that bold, make those bold, don't need the other one above it. I'm going to make that smaller, so let's take that down to 10 there. Then what we've got is this, so again bold, and we'll make that larger. Now I think what we can do is also merge it into that top cell there, then we can give ourselves a bit more space. So if I remove the merge, then reapply the merge, now I can make that bigger without worrying about anything else. We can choose that, and what we can do is make that bold and make that a bit bigger. That was 14, so we'll do the same thing to these. Just take those to 14 and bold. Then again, we'll take this and reduce that down to 10. And then we can take those and bold them. These and bold them. The totals and bold them. Then if we need to put borders around them, we might want to, just to see where they are, or underline them or anything else, but that's up to us. Then what we're going to do is take this edge and reduce that down. Let's say that take that down to 10 there. I'm going to need to insert one more row, so I'm going to insert a row and just choose the color we want, which is going to be that color there. But then I'm going to reduce that down to 10 as well. Choose the top corner and run it down to the bottom corner. And one thing I'm going to do is tell it to put an outside border, so all around. That might not make any sense because it's a black border against the rest. But if we now run this down to here, and we choose a relatively dark grey, almost not visible, and reduce that down to 10. Now you can't really see that one, so we'll try that one again, but this time the next one up. So maybe there. And then do the same thing along the bottom. Choose that, and then make that 10. Now obviously your sizes will change. You'll decide what you want. I'm going to reduce that one to 10. This is where the game of bouncing backwards and forwards happens. So that's what I've got. I've got a nice forecast model. I can always narrow those down, but that border, by the way, just makes that stand out a little bit more. And I've got all of that. That works really nicely. I can stop it if I wanted to from choosing cells, but I want to obviously be able to change these. That's perfectly fine. So I could always lock the sheet, but that's not what we're interested in at this stage. But now I've got a system where I can change the year if I wanted to. So let's look at 2022, and I've only got one figure. Back to 2021. And then here I can choose again a year and the month. And so I can get a forecast of what I'm looking for. How am I doing against the budget I'm trying to achieve? If I turn that back to 2021, and we get all of those. So we've got a nice bank statement, nice system in here. We can add more data. We've so far got 12 months and we're only at 303 lines. So we could keep adding. As I say, there's over 1 million lines. And even though this aren't either realistic numbers, nor are they complete for everything you've got, at least you've got some ideas. You better put things into there. This will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever years. And then by the end of that, you could always create a new one and save this. And you've got a working forecast, nice breakdown, nice statement, and using all the features you know of Excel. Hopefully that's been useful. See you in the next lesson. Take care.